14th VSS with Greg, Carl, and I. And tonight I'm going to go over badges, why we need thinking badges. And I'm going to do, I'm pulling up over here as soon as I can find it here. There are basically two kind of badges, and I got interested in this because it turns out there is not a whole lot on the award badges, if you will. I mean, there are for the educational achievement, but not for the other badges you can give out for people. So that's what I'm just trying to pull up here. I want to I'm trying to pull up the one place I found it. So I'm going to share screen, my other screen, and share this screen and share. And
I can see it.
Yep, the one place I found out about badges were actually an article that Sam Maida pointed me to, and this is actually the only place that I found much about it, other than you know, one of the introductory slides about stuff. So I find it just kind of strange that there's this article is where they talk about it and nowhere other. Because some of my questions were, when you, and let me just get into my pathways here for a second. When you get into you know, your base camp and all that, and you can see that you can do badges, the question is, you know, how do they work? And so I don't need all this. So when I got to badges, all the educational ones, you know, there are different kind of badges, and the one that for the path that you're going on, that badge, you know, will show up, you know, on your My Badges underneath your base camp. Now you can see it's kind of grayed out, and it will stay grayed out until you get all the way through, and then once you achieve the level, then that will become, you know, a nice bright color. And then as you get your different levels along the way, you get different level badges for the education levels that you know, that you get for level 1, 2, 3, 4. And so those will look like, I just want to try to pull those up. I had it here a second ago. Where is it? Hang on. Well, I had it here. I lost it. So, but the other kind of badges are ones that you can award to people, and they are have the labels of like collaborative, innovative, inspirational. When you look at doing, I'm just going to pull up I'm trying to find the base camp. Where the heck was it? I should have had this better prepared. Password to all 59 projects. Where is the pathways going? Do not the application, but the overview and update. All right, I guess I'll open this one up for a second. It's opening slowly. So this in the presentation that we did as when we went out to all of the clubs, talked about the different paths and all of those, and then somewhere along. So these are the pathway badges, and these are the badges again for the 10 different paths. So these are the pathway badges that you get. And again, I liken them in merit badges, kind of a thing, or ranks if you're in Boy Scouts. And then for each of the levels, you also get a badge, and you know, they kind of look like, you know, I don't know, either an elevator or a video game, you know, and such. and you'll get each one of those as you progress along. And so you'll get a level 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then the 5th, when you complete your path, you don't get a number 5. What you get is whatever your path is, and that constitutes you're getting your 5th. So kind of like with the DTM, when you complete both the advanced, in the old school advanced communicator silver, and then the gold, and the advanced leadership silver, you got your DTM, if you will. So it's kind of a similar thing in that fashion. And then they do also talk about, besides those badges, and you can also have these other badges that allow you can award them to people. And I think I've noticed that, like with, for your club, for the Mohawk Valley Club, and other clubs, do as well, where you guys have ribbons for who was the best speaker for that night, or the best table topics, those kinds of things. And in this way, they're kind of similar, from a standpoint of it's a way just for you to be able to, recognize people when you know that they, have done, something that you really want to recognize them for. And I'm just trying to see if I can get the one of these presentations has the. This is just all the. I got it. All right. I'm going to find it as soon as we're done with this. All right, close up. I'm done with you. I'll find it as soon as we're done. But this article talks about these badges, and they're called like collaborative, innovative, and inspirational. And they're a way to give some positive feedback. And this is the best definition that I could find about what those badges meant. And so there's an exceptional badge. And as this article says, if you want to praise a member for particular compelling speech, you can give them an exceptional badge. Or if you want to give a new club member for overcoming fears, giving a speech the first time, then a courageous badge. And I could see, we have a member in Roman Orders, as I do know, who has a, severe stuttering problem. In fact, he just gave a speech on that. And, he's done quite well over the years, but you could certainly see giving someone like him a courageous badge, when he gave his first speech. So those are two of them. The other ones were mentioned earlier of collaborative, innovative, and inspirational. And again, that's really kind of the best explanation that we got, for what they are. And in terms of the guidelines for what you give them, there's not really much more to say than other than what you want to give them as a person. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So what you can do, or the way it works, is So the way it works is if you want to give someone a badge, that you have to go find them, and I was going to say, I thought there was something else happening, but you can go give someone a badge, but you have to go find them in the thing. And I forgot, I got to log back out because I'm not in Roman Orders. I'm in as a base camp. I'm in a Pathways guide. So let me go back to return to Pathway start page. Come on. And let me go back in as Roman Orders. Come on. Anytime now. Continue. Changing clubs. Logging back in. All right. So So to find, you can find, and again, in some sense, it's like feedback. Yeah. And in feedback, is when you can ask people for feedback of how you did, and so you can put a feedback request in, and then and so I could say here, what did you think about DSS number 14? Now, put in who you want it from. You can try to type their name, or over here to the right, you can go and select from users. So I could look for Elizabeth Gates, and see if she shows up, and she can show up. But, I couldn't, if I looked for Greg Carl, not going to show up, because it's only going to show up of who's in your club that you've logged in under. So again, if you're with more than one club, you can only get the feedback. You can only ask for feedback from whichever club you're logged into at that time, and you only show up with the members of that club. So I'm trying to think who else I've got in our club. So I've got Karen Ruth, I think. Yeah, so there's another one, that I could look up. But you can only get it from them. And when you do that, when you ask them that feedback, they get no notification. And so for them to know to give you feedback, you basically, practically speaking, you need to either see them or email them and say, hey, I want some feedback. And that's what I had to do with these other people, because the only way you know if someone's asking you for feedback is if you go up here to the right where there's these three dots with the options and say view all feedback requests. And that's where you can see if someone's asking for feedback from you. So no one's asking me for feedback, but you can see that that's not a very obvious way. And, even if you're in Pathways every day, to think that you got to go up here to click on this to see if someone's asking for feedback, isn't the most straightforward way of doing that. So, but that is one way of doing that. And, again, it can be useful kind of like from a texting standpoint, but again, you kind of have to reach out and let them know. So, and then relative to, for badges, again, there's a tutorial on how to provide the feedback and to do badges. And I'm just going to see if this pops up here with a quick and dirty tutorial here for it. Anytime now. Oh, okay. Come on. So the tutorial is pretty good if my internet connection were a little bit better.
To provide feedback to a home club member.
So let me just go down to badges, where the badges are. Come on.
Select the feedback tab on the members. Everyone in your home club will be able to see your feedback.
That's on the feedback. Into the badges. Come on.
If you would like to award a badge
Here you go.
as part of your feedback, select the medal icon on the right of the page.
So you can, so if I go back for a second, on the feedback page, where was it? Daggone it. I apologize. For some reason I thought I had it more together than this. Hang on. Well, now I've lost the.
Make the comment private to only you and the members.
So if we go to, I go back to the badges here, is I want to give feedback. That's a feedback request. Oh, hang on. If I put in, I'm going to put in Elizabeth again. Oh, come on. I apologize. Last time I did this, it seemed to be so easy. And so here I have Elizabeth Gates, and I can have a paperclip again that I can use to, as I said, to drag a file here if there's something you wanted her to look at. So if I wanted her to look at something, you know, I could add, you know, drag and select, you know, select that there. And I am baffled as to why I cannot give her where my icon is to give her a badge. So not a very good pathways guide here tonight. Daggone it. But those ones that you have, there's not a whole lot of things to do other than to give them a badge. But once you give them a badge, similarly to the feedback, you really almost have to let them know about that you gave them a badge, for that. So it's not something I would, you know, make the number one thing for a new person coming into Pathways and using them, but it would be a way to, you know, once people are starting to get into this a bit, and you want to have things like your, you know, the equivalent of your ribbons for best speaker and best tabletop for a meeting. So if there's something that you wanted to try to give someone else, just kind of an attaboy is the way I would view it. You know, badges are one way, and again, requesting feedback is another. And I'm really frustrated as to why the icon isn't showing up to give be able to give a badge. I'm screwing something up so simple here. And I apologize. Is there anything else that you had you know, questions about or so that we could talk about?
Now, when you're the badges has to be sewn from your own club, correct? It
Right.
can't be sewn from another club.
Correct. It's someone from your club, and again, it has to be when if you belong to more than one club, you can only give the badge or feedback when you get into Pathways, you know, for that club. So, you know, meaning like
To provide feedback to a home club member.
And I'm just going to see where I'm missing something on
Provide
this page.
feedback to a home club member. This is the member's Basecamp profile. To access the member's profile, type the member's name in the search box. Select the appropriate member name when it appears. Then select the Feedback tab on the member's profile. Select inside the text box and write your comment. Select who can see the feedback by selecting the Everyone drop-down menu. By default, everyone in your home club will be able to see your feedback. You can choose to make the comment private, so only you and the member can view it. Select the paperclip icon and add an attachment. If you would like to award a badge as part of your feedback, select the medal icon on the right of the page. The available badges will be displayed.
Oh, there we go.
Select the badge you would like to
All right.
award.
I see what
When you are satisfied,
the fundamental thing is, as he said, was when you're in your base camp, let me just go back to home for a second. And again, you can see how often I've done this. Come on. You're in your home page, you go to my feedback. Well, I didn't have to go to my feedback per se. But up here in the master search box, remember, this lets you search for virtually anything on Pathways. If I typed in Gates, I will get who's ever, has Gates in my club. So Elizabeth Gates pops up. I am now looking at her Basecamp profile of what's publicly available. And you can see she doesn't have a whole lot in there, except, we can see she's a member and she's has a CC, and some of the other things that, to be filled out. So now we can see I have Elizabeth Gates, and you can see up here, this is the Basecamp profile about her, and then there's a feedback tab. This feedback tab is a feedback tab for Elizabeth Gates. And so now this is a way for me to, unsolicited, he hasn't even asked for it, but I could provide her feedback here that I wanted to. Sorry, you couldn't make the VSS number 14. I don't even know if she's going to see this, but catch you next time. And so we can make it available for everyone to see, or just her, or just her managers in terms of like the Vice President of Education and such. So I could post that. And so now if she goes into her feedback folder, goes up here to those things and views all feedback requests, she will now see this comment. And that's where she's really going to see it. Now, the other thing you can see here, again, I could have attached the file to, if I wanted to send her something like, hey, here's the evaluation form that I got that I want to give you. Or over here, this badge, you can see that it looks like a little, Olympic medal kind of a thing. If you click on that, that is where you can give, one of these badges. And again, the explanation for what collaborative, courageous, exceptional, innovative, inspirational is pretty much just what I showed you in that article. That's the only explanation I've been able to find, on Toastmasters. But they're fairly self-explanatory. But there isn't any more guidelines. I thought there was going to be more, I just want to say, criteria about, when you would give one of these. But basically, if you feel like giving one to somebody else, you give one. So if you think anyone's done any of these things that you really want to make them noted for, you're giving them for being collaborative or courageous or exceptional, innovative, inspirational. And again, you don't get any, I'll say, credit for them. They don't do anything for you help advance. It's just kind of like attaboys to give people, some feedback along the way, to keep them motivated, if you will. So it's not a bad thing, obviously. It's a nice little way to, to give a little thumbs up to people. But, it's more of a nice to do, if you will. And as we get more people into Toastmasters, it might become, more useful. Everyone's more online and doing it. So again, just to recap, if you're on your homepage and you want to give feedback to somebody else, including giving them a badge, you can type their name in the master search box up there, no matter where you are. It'll select that person's name. It'll take you to their Basecamp profile, which gives you whatever information they put in there. You go to that feedback tab, and that's where you can either give feedback or you can give a badge and post it. You can give them a reason why you're giving them that badge. Alternatively, if you want people to give you feedback, you go to my feedback page. It's going to look very similar, except you can see up here on the left, it's now Scott Leonard, it doesn't say Elizabeth Gates. And this is from my feedback. And so now this is where I could say, give me feedback. And then here's where I could say, I could start to type in Elizabeth Gates. It's going to show her up. And then I can say post, and it will post to her feedback page. Now you'll notice I can do feedback, but I can't ask for a badge. There isn't a way for me to ask for a badge here, which obviously makes sense. And again, if I want to see any feedback that anyone's asking of me, I have to go to view all feedback requests, and that's what she's going to have to do to see that I just asked her for, or I just commented the fact that she couldn't make VSS 14. And again, this is only going to show up for those who are in your club, and so you can't get feedback from somebody else that way. Now you can ask someone, you can email someone, and if they give you feedback and you want to put it in your folder, you can always do that. So under your education transcript is where you can store, is where you have your Basecamp profile, your feedback, and your transcript. But under ePortfolio is where you can store documents. And you can see that there's one badge here, and that badge is, again, it's been activated for my leadership development, but not, but obviously I haven't earned it, completely yet. And so, but under the documents is where I can store stuff for my, different levels. As I've done for level 1, I've stored my feedback that people have given me. So they'll email me a PDF, because generally speaking, it's easier to write down on a piece of paper at a meeting and then have someone scan it and email it to you. And then you, the person, not the person who gave the evaluation, only you can upload to your own portfolio. So I have those here. And then, but if I had other documents I wanted to put, to store here, I could go to my documents here. And again, it's just a file folder that you can drag and drop. You can do an add file, or, you can drag and drop them to, whatever you want to put in there. So again, it's just a little storage place to put everything, which is, very convenient for, instead of keeping paper around, and for, for the future. If you ever quit Toastmasters and come back, the stuff that stays there for certainly, and then, forever, I guess, in case you come reactivated again. So this is where your badges will show up. It's where you can store your document, and, and again, the feedback page is where you can request feedback. And if you go up to search and find someone's name in your club, that's how you can give them unsolicited feedback, as well as award them a badge. And those are all the honor badges, if you will. The educational badges, those come along as you, complete levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your path. So having done that monologue, any other questions about that, or any other questions you might have, Greg?
The one thing I heard was that the document file where you can store things. So, for example, someone just did an evaluation on the sheet for me that's not part of her book. It's part of storytelling, but I don't have the book. I don't think they sell the books anymore, so I just had PDFs. I could store that sheet in my documents.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. In fact, even if you're working, frankly, even if you're working under the old program, there's nothing that prevents you from saying, hey, I want to keep track of all the stuff that people are giving me. I lost my book once before back in the 90s, and I want to do it again. Yeah, you can certainly store anything, well, on any of the levels that you want, but certainly into the My Documents general folder, you can drag and drop and put all your stuff there that you want. So you can use this as a storage device, if you will, and not just for pathways per se.
Yeah, because people are saying, listen, I dropped out of Toastmasters a few years ago. I've lost my books, and it's not really worth doing all those speeches over again. But this at least addresses that for the future, is you can keep track of all your stuff here. And
right.
So that's a big benefit.
Yeah, and that's a big advantage of Pathways going forward for new members is, if you're in Pathways and you leave and come back, you can pick up right back where you started from. You won't have lost anything. But again, for even though they're trying to finish up under the old program, you can still use this as a place. If you get onto Pathways and you pick your path, you just get started with just getting yourself set up. You can go that far and then use this as a storage mechanism to keep track of all your stuff for the next, 2 years. And then after that, of course, you can't complete the old program, but you can certainly keep all of your stuff here. For that matter, I mean, only you can see this document file. So I mean, you could put your own speeches up there. You could upload all your speeches to say, make sure they're in the cloud, so to speak, as opposed to on my hard drive, which might crash. And you can load it up with all your speeches there as well. Or, as you're doing your high performance leadership project, you want to put things there. So yeah, definitely, that's another advantage, another reason for, just getting into Pathways, even if you're not going to fully, go through the program, initially.
Okay. Now, is there a way to delete feedback? For example, you think of feedbacks from people who write for restaurants, things like that. If you don't like the feedback, can you delete that that someone sent to you?
Well, yes, by way of the fact that no one can put feedback into, I'm going to switch back here. No one can put feedback into your folder. You're the only one that can put any feedback into my documents.
Okay.
So the good news back is no one can, spam you, if you will, or put anything into here. Now, could they go to feedback, and send you unsolicited feedback? Here's Karen Ruth. She sent me this unsolicited, the solicited feedback. But if she said something here that, like, instead of "this is very helpful to me," "this is very hurtful to me," you have so very much to learn, I advise you, then yeah, I could just click up here and that'll delete the feedback.
But for example, if she sends it to everyone, will it only be deleted for you or for everyone?
This is shared with everyone, but my understanding is the shared with everyone simply means they can all see it. If I delete it, there's nothing to share with everyone anymore. So, yeah, and that has come up. They're very big on the privacy with Pathways. Oh, we got a 2-minute warning here. 3-minute warning. So they're very big on privacy here. So there's, on the one hand, it'd be kind of nice if someone could, just put the evaluation request in your folder and all that, but they have it set up they can't do that. In fact, you're not even required to put your evaluation in in your folders here. That's all optional. It's very much of an honor system to say, yep, I gave a speech. Yep, I got, someone filled out the formal evaluation form, and yet I completed everything. There really isn't a way for the Vice President of Education to really check that online, which is why I've told VPEs they should just get a spiral-bound notebook. There's 59 projects maximum that you could take if you take all those different paths, and but it's obviously not going to be that many for one person. So just have a page for each person. You probably got 20 people, unless you're the Empire Statesman, and just keep a book there. And then every time they gave a speech, you can just write down, yep, they gave a speech on this date, and then you can kind of keep track of it, at least at a macro level, if you will. So, all right, I've got 2 minutes left. I'm going to have one more session. It won't be this Thursday because I'm traveling again. No, it could be this Thursday. Yeah, because I'm traveling on Wednesday. So I might make it this Thursday for my last time. Is there anything else you can think of that you would like, even if you can't make it, anything else that you think you would like to see or somebody else would like to see, and I could perhaps even go over it as far as the recording of it, if you will. You might be, it looks like you're muted. So I'm not hearing you.
Okay, just no. Let me think about that. I'll let you know by tomorrow or Tuesday. I want to get some other people from club involved.
No, that sounds good. That sounds good. And even after I stop doing these VSSs, obviously, if someone has questions or concerns, I'm still going to be available to, help answer them and such. So people have my, phone number if they want to call or text, and an email, and I'll be glad to continue to help people, of course. All right. Well, thanks for calling in tonight, Greg, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.